what we're coming out of today is the instructions for the government of armies of the United States in the field. General Order number 100 from the Lieber Code. From the Lieber Code. Franz Lieber. Or Francis Lieber. So, this is Francis Lieber and the U.S. Department of War. Those of you who are just tuning in, welcome. Those of you who have been around for a while, welcome back. So, basically, I'm going to be reading from number 56 in this book, because I think that the information there is very pertinent and very useful for some of us to understand that we are in fact within an occupied country. Right? We are in fact considered prisoners of war. Okay? So, number 56 says, a prisoner of war is subject to no punishment for being a public enemy, nor is any revenge wreaked upon him by the intentional infliction of any suffering or disgrace by cruel imprisonment, want of food, by mutilation, death, or any other barbarity. So soon as a man is armed by a sovereign government and takes the soldier's oath of fidelity, he is a belligerent. Let's do that again. So soon as a man is armed by a sovereign government and takes the soldier's oath of fidelity, he is a belligerent. His killing, wounding, or other warlike acts are not individual crimes or offenses. No belligerent has a right to declare that enemies of a certain class, color, or condition, when properly organized as soldiers, will not be treated by him as a public enemy. The law of nations knows of no distinction of color, and if any enemy of the United States should enslave and sell any captured persons of their army, it would be a case for the severest retaliation. And if any enemy of the United States should enslave and sell any captured persons of their army, it would be a case for the severest retaliation, if not redressed upon complaint. The United States cannot retaliate by enslavement. The United States cannot retaliate by enslavement. Therefore, death must be the retaliation for this crime against the law of nations. Against the law of nations. A prisoner of war remains answerable for his crimes committed against the captor's army or people, committed before he was captured, and for which he has not been punished by his own authorities. All prisoners of war are liable to the infliction of retaliatory measures. It is against the usage of modern war to resolve in hatred and revenge to give no quarter. No body of troops has the right to declare that it will not give and therefore will not expect quarter. Quarter meaning housing. But a commander is permitted to direct his troops to give no quarter in great straits, when his own salvation makes it impossible to cumber himself with prisoners. Troops that give no quarter have no right to kill enemies already disabled on the ground, or prisoners captured by other troops. All troops of the army known or discovered to give no quarter in general or to any portion of the army receive none. And I'm going to read this last part. Troops who fight in the uniform of their enemies without any plain, striking, and uniform mark of distinction of their own can expect no quarter. All right. If an American troops capture a train containing uniforms of the enemy and the commander considers it advisable to distribute them for use among his men, some striking mark or sign must be adopted to distinguish the American soldier from the enemy. All right, so I've been telling people for some time now that the usage of the Constitution, for the most part, they've been suspending it. They haven't really been operating under the Constitution for some time now. And I'm talking about the original Constitution, the organic Constitution. All right, they suspended the organic Constitution for some time now. It's been out of operation for some time. They've been operating through the commercial jurisdiction, commercial Constitution. All right, and for an example, if some of us who've been dealing with court cases and stuff like that, you're going to the courtroom and you tell the judge. If you've seen some of my videos, you'll see, like if you heard, when I would have discussions with these judges, you will hear the judge mentioning, like I'll ask them, what jurisdiction is this court operating under, and they'll say, oh, the jurisdiction of the United States. All right, and sometimes they'll say the jurisdiction of the United States of America or the Constitution of the United States of America. You don't hear that the last portion that much, but what they're talking about is there is a Constitution for the United States. It's a Constitution for the United States of America, just like there's a Constitution for each one of these states. All right? But these constitutions are not the organic Constitution of the United States for America. The Constitution for the United States of America, that is a commercial jurisdiction. That is a commercial constitution. That is not the original Constitution. So you'll hear them say it, but if you don't catch it, then you just didn't catch it. All right. So you want to be sure that what they're saying is the organic Constitution or the Constitution of the United States for America or common law. All right. So again, the Constitution, they suspended this thing for some time now. All right. They suspended the Constitution, and they're operating under Lieber Code. They've been operating under the Lieber Code for some time because the Lieber Code is basically in line with the law of nations. Okay? It's in line with the law of nations. And basically, when you, some of us have submitted documents, papers into these courts, and we're making the argument, you guys are violating my constitutional rights, or you're violating the rights that the Constitution is supposed to enforce, and you see these incidences occurring on the road, you know what I'm saying, and people are, they're screaming out the Constitution. They're not operating under the Constitution, they're operating under the Lieber Code, and this is what I've been trying to tell people to study for some time now. You need to start reading the Lieber Code, right? They're not going to get around this. This is not what they're not going to be able to get around this. Because this is in line with the law of nations. And the law of nations, for an example, those of you who are familiar with Hawaii and how they basically stole the country, and Hawaii is in fact a country, how they stole the country of Hawaii and incorporated it into the United States and made it one of the quote-unquote 50 states. One of the things that they told the people of Hawaii was in order for you to become a part of the United States, in order to make this thing official, you have to forego on your laws, and you have to adopt the law of nations. You have to adopt the law of nations. All right? And again, the Lieber Code it's in line with the law of nations. All right? The Constitution, they've subverted it. They're not using it. You know what I mean? They're not using it. So we want to tell people, like, basically start studying the Lieber Code. A lot of things have been happening as of lately with the WHO, that vote that they had on the 22nd of May. And I mentioned in another video that Mr. Biden, I don't want to call him president, but Mr. Biden, he signed off on that being the case, allowing the director of the World Health Organization, he signed off on the director of the World Health Organization becoming basically the king on the planet, the dictator of the planet. That's what the vote was about. All right, and so in the event of another global pandemic, the director of the WHO, the World Health Organization, becomes literally the final say on anything. He doesn't answer to anyone. And all nations, it's about 190. There's 197, I I believe 197, something to that, something in that area, 97, 194 nations that they're going to lose their sovereignty. That's what they voted on, that they lose their sovereignty in the event of the next pandemic. And the director of the World Health Organization becomes essentially the final say. And he doesn't need any congressional vote. He doesn't need any parliamentary support. Nothing. What he says is what it is. What he says is what it is. And so, for those of you who've been watching a number of my videos, you know that, I try to put this thing I put it in the proper perspective. Whether you believe or you don't believe, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't believe. It doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe in Revelation or God. It doesn't matter. Why? Because these people that are running this system, they believe in it. They study these books. And they're the ones with the guns. They're the ones with the guns. So, if they believe it, and they're moving in line with that, then the end result is going to be exactly what's in that revelation. So you don't have to believe in it. Oh, I don't believe in God, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in God. It does not believe, it does not matter. Because that's how they're moving. Their faith is moving them and making them do these things. So, at the bare minimum, if you have any intelligence, what you should do is, okay, I don't believe in it, that's your decision, that's fine. They do. So you need to know what they're thinking, and if you know what they're thinking, what they believe, then you'll know what their next move is going to be. And it's just that easy to interpret, to predict or to preempt what it is that they're going to do next, and you can make the proper preparations. All right. So, and I mentioned, everybody knows, I'm Muslim by faith, and you'll hear me mentioning the Bible, you'll hear me mentioning the Quran, you'll hear me mentioning the Torah and other books of Revelation. You know what I'm saying? Because they're all saying the same thing. All of them. They're all saying the same thing. All right? And if you read the materials, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Devin. Wa alaikum salam. I see you, brother. I see you. All right? Mansa Musa in here too. I see you, brother. During these times, these are not the times for to begin isolating yourself religiously. You know what I'm saying? Because these people, they're not playing by those rules. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to my wife earlier. We was discussing about something I mentioned in another video about the Great War. You know what I mean? They're pushing for that. They're pushing for that. And in the Bible, it mentions about a king. You know what I'm saying? A king, and he'll be upon Christianity. And again, this is a Muslim. Okay, this is a Muslim telling you. So, I'm not being bipartisan or anything, any of my beliefs. I'm going off of the facts. And the facts are the facts. So if it's in the Bible, if it's in the Torah, it's in the Quran, it's in whatever book of Revelation that you could think of from any other faith, if it's all in line, then it would take a person of low intelligence to think that, well, what I'm on is all there is. You're wilding. You're wilding. Because all the revelation came from one source. So at the end of the day, if they're all saying the same thing, it's something that you should at least pay attention to. If all these different books, all these different faiths are all saying the same thing, it's something that you should pay attention to. I mean, just the minimal amount of intelligence will tell you that's something to pay attention to. Everybody's saying the same thing, right? What's that saying? If everybody calls you a duck, then you should start quacking. Just something to think about. But anyway, it mentions about a great war. It mentions a great war. All right? This great war. And it's going to be all nations involved in this war. And one book of Revelation mentions it's over gold. Another one mentions over black gold oil. So, it'll be a great war, and the earth will be, essentially, the surface of the earth will be destroyed. Because of this great war. The surface of the earth will be destroyed because of this great war. And as a result, the people will be in dire straits. All right? And the Messiah comes, or the false Messiah comes first, because people are in dire straits. And when that occurs, he will say, "Sky, bring down rain," and it will rain. And they have a machine to do that. So it's not something that's just far-fetched. All right. And those of you who are in this group, you can just scroll back into the videos that I've posted and stuff like that. You'll see it. You'll see the video where they actually have the machine and they create the cloud, and the cloud later moves into another area, and then the gentleman, he goes to that area, and then he's in the area, and he says, "This rain is from that machine." You know what I mean? So they have the machine to do it. They're pushing out these GMOs. You know what I'm saying? These seeds. You know what I'm saying? And, in the books of Revelation, it says that this Antichrist, he will come. And he will say, "Sky, bring down rain," and it will rain. And he will say, "Earth, bring forth your vegetation," and it will bring forth its vegetation. And this is during the time where we're talking about nuclear fallout. You know what I'm saying? 3 years of nuclear fallout. First year, the rain will be reduced to 1/3 of the rain will be taken away. And then 2/3 the following year, and then 3/3 rain. No rain after that. Plants die. Animals that eat the plants die. Animals that eat those animals die. Very difficult time. The earth will return back to its original state, which was, volcanic. It was it was dry. It was very dry. So, there'll be limited food. And people are going to go into panic. They're going to go into panic. And at this time is when this Antichrist will come. And he will say, "Sky, bring down rain, earth, bring forth your vegetation." And it's going to respond to him. It's going to respond to him. And so, people need to be aware of that. All right? And the prophets, all the prophets mentioned during those times, go into the mountains. He said, take you some sheep or some goats, and go into the mountains and stay in the mountains. Why? Because all this stuff right here, the vast majority of the stuff is going to happen in the city areas. The people are going to be pushed into the cities, and that's where it's going to happen. And you just look at military strategy. You know what I'm saying? You hit the seaports. You hit all the coastlines. Why? Because that's where the ships, the warships, the submarines, that's where they're going to come from. They're going to come off of the shorelines. So destroy the shorelines. All right? Also, your supplies from other countries. You're not going to get any. The only way to get supplies to the United States is through the water. So they're going to destroy the shorelines. East Coast, West Coast, those are going to be gone. All right? That's just basic war strategy. And look at it. And the Bible says that this king, this Christian king, the other nations are going to continue to prod at this king. They're going to keep poking at him, keep messing with him. And then he's going to unleash he said, fire from the sky. And those of you who are Christian, I'm sure you probably read this. You had to read it if you read your book. He said and then it says that he's going to release fire from the sky, and then behold, those nations will be plunged into darkness. Behold, those nations will be plunged into darkness. All right. Now, I've mentioned this in other videos. Go Google Satan 2. Go Google the Satan 2. Russia has that. They've been mass producing them since 2018. I posted it in the group and on my regular page back in 2017. That's when I came across the information. And they said they were going to start mass producing those Satan 2s in 2018. All right? So, they've been mass producing them for a minute now. Just to give you an idea of what a Satan 2 is, it's a nuclear bomb. It's a nuclear bomb that has 5 nuclear warheads in it. Each one of them has 5 nuclear warheads. So, one of the bombs that they dropped on like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it has 5 of those bombs in one. All right? And they've ran tests on it, obviously. And what they said was, and again, Google's still your friend. Go ahead and take a look. One Satan 2, one will take out the entire state of Texas. One. Okay? In 2020, it was like 2020. It was like toward the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. They asked Putin. They said, United States, you're not afraid of the United States? And he started laughing. He said, we will reduce the United States into an island within a half an hour. One Satan 2 will take out the state of Texas, the entire state of Texas. Outside of Alaska, Texas is the biggest state. Okay? One of them will take out the entire, take it out, take it off the map. Okay? One. So, we got armaments and we got stuff. Yeah, well, that's the books of Revelation said mutual assured destruction. Or these scientists are saying mutual assured destruction. And what the prophet mentioned was, he said that the battle will be so intense that a bird will attempt to fly from one end of the battlefield to the other end of the battlefield, and it will die before it reaches the other end. Okay? So, it's just something to consider. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be preparing for this, because that's what they're pushing for. Okay? You got Poland, the UN. They're pushing for Poland to get in on this nonsense with Ukraine. They're trying to convince Poland to stand up and basically push back Russia, to help push back Russia. If Poland gets in on that, Russia already said, and anybody who knows anything about Russia, if they say they're going to do it, they do it. They don't play any games with that. They don't say they're going to do something and then go back on their word. They don't play that. You know what I'm saying? If they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it. They said if Poland gets involved, we're going to come at them with such force that will make them bend their knee. They're not playing. All right? And I put up videos about Russia before. You know what I'm saying? I posted a little statement on the top. We don't want to go with the war. Now listen, I ain't no fearmonger or nothing like that. I've never been a fearmonger. I'm a fact stater. I'm going to state the facts, and that's it. You can take it if you want to. You can reject it if you want to. It's up to you. What's going on? What's going on, Nat? I see you, girl. All right. What's going on? It's my cousin, y'all. So Russia. Just Google what I'm telling you. Just go take a look at the videos of Russia. Road rage in Russia. Man, them people, road rage, this is their typical road rage. They stop the cars, they get out, they shake it out. Boop, 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 boop. Win, lose, draw. After you're done, they get back in their cars and they drive off. Nobody's calling the police. Nobody's calling the cops. Nobody's calling no police, nothing. We're going to shake it out. And after we do that, get back in your vehicle and you drive off. That's the type of people that we're going against. All right? And I mentioned it on my post. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the Karens of the globe. We're the Karens. We get some road rage. We get the shaking out or whatever. Somebody calling the cops. Somebody's calling the cops. We not ready for the capital. We ain't ready for that. You know what I'm saying? We've been pacified for a long time. We're the greatest nation. We ain't been the greatest nation. We're not the greatest nation in mathematics. We're not the greatest nation in science. We're not the greatest nation in armament. We're not the greatest nation in building anything. Nothing. Like, for real. Like, we're living off of our past laurels. We ain't been great in a while. That's why Trump had to come and say, make America great again. We're not. It's time to wake up, people. It's really time to wake up. You know what I'm saying? And I suggest, you start reading that Lieber code. Read that Lieber code. Silent weapons for quiet wars. Right? The protocols of the learned elders of Zion. If you really want to know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? They've manipulated the hell out of the people, man. They got people really asleep. Really got people asleep, man. You know what I mean? So, that's all I got for now, man. For real. Just basically, get your supplies up, people. Get your supplies up. Because we're seriously running out of time. And I know for years we've been hearing people, the sky is falling, doomsday is coming. We're closer today than we've ever been in history. Okay? We got the pandemic thing going on. We got this potential war with Russia. And just a side point real quick. One of the things the prophet mentioned was, he said that this great war, it will begin in the Middle East. It will begin in the Middle East. And keep your eyes on Iran. All right? Keep your eyes on Iran. Keep your eyes on Iran. All right? And also keep your eyes on your bank accounts, on your credit cards, debit cards. When those things stop working, you got about 3 days. When your debit card stops working, you got 3 days. When your debit card stop working, you got 3 days. When you hear about something popping off in Iran, war, skirmish, whatever it is, expect within about a day or two that your debit cards are going to stop working. Gas prices in, Chicago? Chicago, it jumped $2 literally overnight. Not even 24 hours. Overnight, from $4 to $2. Gas prices go up. Every day your dollar's losing its value. And I mentioned this before. You go to the Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Tree ain't even a dollar no more. You go to Dollar General's, the items that were a dollar, you can't even get them for a dollar anymore. That's a clear indication the dollar's crashing. So now what do they have to do in order to distract the people? Because they got enough distractions, right? You got the shooting starting to increase, right? They got that increasing, all right? You also have the dollar's about to crash. So what do they have to do to distract the people? They have to create a war. All right? They have to create a war. When the dollar when it loses its value, they have to create a great distraction. That great distraction is going to be that great war. All right? And what's going to happen is, what's going on, Shauna? What's the word? When the dollar crashes, they have to create a great distraction. Bitcoin, all these cryptocurrencies. I know some of you people, you're making some money off of that. You're making some money off of that, but you have to, you got to consider this, right? If for those of you who've been in the streets, you hustled or whatever the situation was, fast money goes fast. Fast money, it goes fast. So if you're acquiring it quickly, expect it to go fast. So that Bitcoin and those cryptocurrencies and all that, it's meant to distract people. All right? It's meant to distract people. Go ahead and make your money. Make your millions overnight. If you can make $1 million overnight, then you know that the money ain't worth nothing. It's not worth anything. And look at 1933. What happened in 1933? What happened? The stock market, it was exploding. It was doing wonderful the day before. Literally the day before. And then it crashed. Boom. Everybody lost everything. Okay? So if you see, I'm making all this money, I'm living my best life, and I'm doing all this, and you taking away pictures, you're putting them on social media, and you're bragging to your people about how much you're doing with the money that you're making and all that. That's what they were doing back in 1933. They just didn't have the social media. The money, it was everywhere. And then all of a sudden everything crashed. That's how they operate. They never change their method of operation. They don't. All right? As that statement goes, there's nothing new under the sun. You better believe it. It's the same tactics. All right? It's the same tactics. This is the time for preparation. This extra money that you're getting, you should be taking that and putting it into something. Gold and silver. Supplies. All you can do is just warn the people, man. That's all you can do. They're going to listen. You got to make sure that you survive, and those around you who want to listen will survive. And guess what? Most of the time, people, when destruction comes, it's very few that actually make it. The vast majority choose to go the opposite direction. So if you're following the vast majority, then you need to reconsider your position. You need to reconsider your thought process. You know what I'm saying? Because anytime you hear of the masses doing something, it's generally not a good thing. It generally doesn't end well. When you see the masses, the vast majority of people doing something, it generally doesn't end well. Just something to consider. You know what I mean? But, consider getting your supplies up, man. That cryptocurrency, it's temporary. It's a quick fix. They know the money's about to crash. They know that money's about to lose all its value. All right? So they're already making preparations for other things. And it's not cryptocurrency, people. It's not cryptocurrency. You got to think about these people, those of you who've been on this path, studying this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Talking about, it's corrupt. Okay. So you think they're going to stop being corrupt? Now that cryptocurrency's on the scene, there's money that they can't control. Do you think they're going to allow that? Do you think they're going to allow a currency to exist that they can't control? What are you thinking? You better give that some thought. They're not going to allow that thing to survive. So you should know it's either a setup or it's a prop. It's a crutch. It's a quick fix. But it's not meant to last. It's not going to last. They will not allow it to last. All right? And I invite people to, me and the missus was talking earlier about Stargate. Watch the movie Stargate. Because when those bombs come down, and this earth is bombed back into the Stone Age, they got a lot of technology underground. The older people are not going to survive. A lot of the older people are not going to survive. The vast majority, if any, of the older people are not going to survive. What happens when the elders die? When the older people die? As that saying in Africa goes, every elder who passes away, who dies, an entire library goes with them. The knowledge is going with them. So who's going to be left? The young and ignorant. Those who are with the TikTok and all this other nonsense, man. They're not watching anything. They're not educating themselves. They're being entertained. They're being entertained. They want them dumb and stupid. They want that. They want the ignorance. Why? Because when those bombs drop and all the elders die off because they ain't fit, they ain't gonna be able to make the trek. They ain't been, putting the supplies together. A lot of them on medication. There's gonna be a lot of death, people. It's gonna be a lot of death. They're not gonna make it. So the only one's gonna be left is the youth. And the youth, they're lacking this. So what happens? And these people, they'll wait another generation. They'll sit right on the ground and wait another generation. Let them die off too. What they gonna teach the next generation after them? Nothing. How to twerk? How to talk about men ain't ish? Women ain't ish? Don't trust them? Okay, more separation. Perfect. More ignorance. And when that next generation comes in, when they start growing up, they don't know nothing. They ain't got a clue of nothing. And then they come out from underneath the ground with their little all their high-tech stuff. Watch that movie Stargate. They will come out of the pyramids, right? With these flying machines. They was shooting lasers at these people. They ain't got a clue what that was. They were like, what? They're gods. Prevailing thing that's going on now, right? You men are gods. You women are gods. It's the prevailing thing that's going on right now. That stuff's going to be passed down. It's going to be passed down.